Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something pretty interesting today. The upcoming wedding of Jennifer Garner and John Miller. Seems like you all wanted to know more, so we dug through some recent articles. And let me tell you some of these details. Pretty fascinating little glimpses into their relationship.
Yeah, there's definitely some intrigue there. We see a lot of over-the-top celebrity weddings, right? But Garner and Miller, they seem to be going for something totally different.
Oh, for sure. So first things first, they're planning to tie the knot this summer. 6 years of dating and finally making it official. But here's where it gets interesting. A source close to the couple told Life & Style magazine that they've been informally engaged for over a year. What's the deal with this informally engaged thing? It seems like it's becoming more common, especially with celebrities. What's your take on that?
Yeah, informally engaged. I think it might point to a shift in how people approach relationships. Maybe it's about really building a strong foundation, shared values, that kind of thing, before jumping into the whole traditional proposal thing, like saying, hey, we're solid, we're in this, the ring, not the biggest deal right now.
Yeah, it's like we know where we stand, and that's what matters. Speaking of doing things their way, did you catch the wedding details? Small, low-key, intimate. A world away from those big, flashy Hollywood bashes.
That choice to keep it private speaks volumes. We're seeing a trend, I think, where celebrities are craving normalcy. They want privacy, especially with something as personal as a wedding. For Garner especially, being constantly in the spotlight, a low-key wedding might be her way of having some control, a little intimacy amidst all the chaos.
It makes you wonder how much they try to keep things private in other parts of their lives too. The article mentioned that even their dates are pretty low-key. Spontaneous, off-the-beaten track kind of thing, like they're trying to blend in.
The irony, right? Celebrities trying to fly under the radar. It's a funny paradox. Fame has its perks, obviously, but it also means no anonymity. People are always watching, so choosing to step back from that, even for a bit, maybe that's their way of reconnecting with something real, something authentic.
It's a good reminder that even with fame, people still want those genuine connections. Everyone needs a little space. But hey, speaking of connections, there was this one detail in the article that really piqued my interest. It said that at one point, Garner went into savior mode, and Miller took a back seat. I gotta know more about that.
Ah, yes, that caught my eye too. Unfortunately, the source didn't give specifics, but I think it hits at something pretty revealing about their dynamic. Maybe Garner's protective instincts kicked in. It's interesting, though, how Miller reacted. He was totally understanding, and apparently that actually brought them closer.
Wow. So not threatened, but supportive. That's a pretty mature response. Speaks volumes about their compatibility. Maybe they've got this secure dynamic going on. They can navigate those tricky moments with understanding, not insecurity. They let each other be themselves.
Exactly. It challenges this idea that relationships have to be perfectly balanced all the time, right? Maybe those shifts in dynamics, when you handle them with open communication and understanding, can actually deepen the connection. It's about teamwork, supporting each other through it all. It really is. It's not every day you see that kind of grounded approach, especially in Hollywood.
Yeah, and it makes that little detail from the article even more intriguing. The one where the source says Garner and Miller already feel like a married couple makes the whole wedding thing almost sound like, well, just a formality at this point.
I get what you mean. Yeah, a wedding is a big symbolic event for sure, but I think what that source is trying to say is that their commitment runs deep. They've built a life together already. They've been through ups and downs, support each other's growth. It's like they already embody what marriage is all about, even without the legal paperwork or the big ceremony.
So it's less about making a commitment and more about, celebrating one that's already rock solid.
Exactly. It's like a public affirmation of something that's already woven into their everyday lives. And maybe that's why they're not going all out with the wedding. It's not about the show. It's about the shared joy, that intimate connection with their closest people.
It really does flip the script on those typical celebrity weddings, doesn't it? It makes you wonder if they're setting a new standard, a new way to approach relationships, fame, even the whole happily ever after thing.
Maybe they are. By putting authenticity first, focusing on real connection and respect, they're showing that a strong partnership can exist even in a place like Hollywood. It's a powerful message, don't you think? Real happiness comes from nurturing the heart of the relationship, not getting caught up in all the external expectations.
It's inspiring to see them consciously choosing a path that's true to them, even if it goes against the grain of what everyone else seems to be doing.
And their story offers some good food for thought for all of us, you know? No matter what our relationship status is, what we do for a living, it reminds us that a lasting partnership takes work. Open communication. Being there for each other when things get tough.
Choosing what truly matters. Substance over spectacle, real connection over all that superficial stuff.
Couldn't have put it better myself. Garner and Miller, they seem to be building something that can stand the test of time. By focusing on those core values, I mean.
And that's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Jennifer Garner and John Miller's world. It's been fascinating exploring their relationship and those choices they've made.
Definitely has. Maybe their story will inspire us all to be a bit more intentional, you know? In our own lives, what do we prioritize? What values do you want to live by in our relationships too?
That's a wrap for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep seeking those real connections and building a life that feels true to you. It really is refreshing, you know, seeing a couple like that in the spotlight, but choosing to keep things real. Prioritizing that genuine connection. It's like they're creating their own space away from all that Hollywood craziness.
Right, and it's not like they're just let her fame dictate their lives. They're actively shaping things, making choices that line up with what they believe in. It's a reminder for all of us, isn't it? We all have the power to decide what really matters to us, no matter what our situation is.
It makes you stop and think, you know, how can we bring that kind of intentionality into our own lives? It's easy to get caught up in what everyone else expects of us. But Garner and Miller, they remind us that we can choose a different path.
Totally. They're basically challenging us to think about what truly brings us joy, what gives our lives meaning, what values do we want to bring to our relationships, what kind of life do we want to build on our own and together.
Exactly. Happiness isn't about fitting into some mold or chasing after what other people think is important. It's about being true to ourselves, having real connections, and building a life that feels authentic, a life that means something.
Well said. And you know, as we wrap up this deep dive into Garner and Miller's world, I'm walking away with a feeling of hope, almost. Their story shows us that it is possible to handle fame and relationships with grace, with intention, with a deep commitment to what truly matters.
It's been an amazing journey, hasn't it? And I think there's something in their story that we can all learn from. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep searching for those real connections and building a life that reflects who you truly are. 4B3.